Welcome to my storytelling channel. Let me tell you about the day I found the Rainbow Serpent. Or perhaps the Rainbow Serpent found me. Many years ago, a group of which I was a member visited an Aboriginal sacred site in the region where I lived. We were welcomed with morning tea and listened spellbound while one of the aunties told us stories of their history on country. She spoke of how this sacred site had been appropriated and desecrated by crass, moneyed interests, of how the venture had failed and the site was eventually returned to the traditional owners to be cleansed and restored to its former beauty. She spoke of the land, of country, as part of her, just as she was part of it, all part of the same being, of life. After her story, she encouraged us to spend some time in silence, simply feeling the power of the land, perhaps hoping that in some way we could experience something of what she felt. Her eloquence and her profound sense of belonging had touched me deeply, so I took myself off to a spot away from the others, sat upon a rock and looked around. The area was a vast field with a broad stand of rushes creating an oval island in the middle. The surrounding grass was lush and green, carved into sections by gravelled paths and lined with flowering native trees. It was silent, save for bird song and the distant hum of traffic. It felt timeless, ancient, and I began to meditate. Relaxed, eyes closed. As my breathing slowed, it seemed to me that something powerful deep within the earth was pushing upward beneath the reeds. It was a kind of formless energy, and yet there was a feeling of intention that whatever it was knew where it was going. It was close to the surface, and I wondered whether it might burst through the fragile surface of the earth and emerge into the sunlight. What was it? Intrigued and slightly disconcerted, I left my rocky perch and went in search of our guide. She was sitting under a tree, motionless, in the way the indigenous people seem to merge with the land to which they belong. I felt a bit apprehensive, lest she think I might be losing my marbles, but I told her what I had felt and asked if she knew what it was. "Oh, that's the Rainbow Serpent," she smiled, unperturbed. "He's very close to the surface here. You're lucky. He doesn't let everyone know he's here." In Aboriginal mythology, the Rainbow Serpent controls water, life's most precious resource. The reed bed at the centre of the field suggested a swamp, so the water would be close to the surface. Was that the source of the power I felt? Was there an underground aquifer or stream running just out of sight, ready to gush into the air like a geyser? I had so many questions, but I didn't want to spoil the moment by dragging Western ideas into a mythic experience. Some things just need to be accepted and not analysed. So I decided to tell her a story drawn from another encounter. I hoped it would provide some background for a question that now felt more appropriate and in some ways more important. One day, while bushwalking and thinking about nothing in particular, I'd suddenly felt a presence walking beside me, a few meters off the path amongst the trees. I stopped and squinted into the shadows, but there was nothing but flickering sunlight, not even a bird pecking insects from the leaves. But when I closed my eyes, an image arose of a group of Aboriginal men, daubed with ochre and carrying spears. Ever since childhood, I've received impressions related to a sense of place, often with quite powerful images. So this was an uncanny feeling, but not frightening. It felt strange, but somehow companionable and safe. Some years later, I mentioned the experience to a Yuin elder who listened carefully before explaining its significance. He was very matter-of-fact. They're protecting you. You are welcome there. He was clearly unbothered by the thought of this white woman having such an odd experience. For this man, such phenomena were part of his everyday life, part of the dream time, and he accepted that sometimes others might also be able to detect them. I felt reassured by his acceptance and asked him, "Is there anything I should do or say when I feel their presence?" "When you go to a new place, ask permission. When you leave, say thanks. That's all. They know who you are." When I had finished my story, I returned to the subject of the Rainbow Serpent and the question hovering in my mind. I guess what I'm saying is that I feel very grateful that the Rainbow Serpent revealed himself to me. So should I thank him the same way I thank the ancestors? The auntie had listened carefully, not commenting, face impassive. But now she nodded, thoughtful. "Yes, he gave you a gift. You let him know you're grateful." I thanked her and walked back towards the little island. The field felt normal once more. Birds foraged in the reeds and chuckled in the branches of the eucalypts and banksias. And although the light seemed different somehow, a little brighter, a little stronger perhaps, the sensation of power thrusting upward through the earth had faded. Even so, I approached the little island, closed my eyes and concentrated, perhaps summoning the attention of that great being coiling beneath the earth. "Thank you," I whispered. The reeds swayed in a sudden breeze, and I turned away, returning to everyday life and the little group of pilgrims chatting on the edge of the field. Thank you for being my companions on this journey. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe so that more people will find their way to these stories.